So I really just wanted to get on live really fast and just give this message out there to everyone because I think it's really important that everyone hears this at least once. Okay, and I am going to save this and probably post it, elsewhere. But I want to talk a bit about the power of magic and why it's so important, to constantly be devoted to your practice. And whether you're a client or whether you're a witch or you're a voodooisant, it's very important that you know and learn this important lesson. Now, a lot of people that are clients and people that walk from other walks of life coming into voodoo, they look at voodoo and they kind of, assume that one spell or, one anything is going to be the cure all to their life problems. And what a lot of people fail to realize is while that may help in the moment, the reason why a lot of spells and a lot of servicios, eventually decay or stop, working is because energy is constantly moving throughout life. If you really want to learn about magic on a very simple level, on a very simple scale, just look at energy and the way that energy works. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be changed. And when it comes to magic or servicios, when someone has done a work for you, for example, in your love life, yeah, it's gonna work because there was a lot of energy put into that work to manifest it. Therefore, you have the love life that you wanted, okay, granted. But after a while, you'll see that it will begin to decay. Now, what causes that decay is eventually, let's look at ice, for example, to understand energy, because a lot of people tend to forget metaphysics as well as the physics that go into magic. So when it comes to ice and you look at ice, to keep ice in a balanced state, you have to it has to remain in the same energy, or it has to remain in constant energy, right? So the same temperature, the same energy, whatever keeps the atoms together. You remove that and you leave it alone, or you stop working with it. So for example, in this scenario, the stop working with it would be the freezer just stops working. In that case, it begins to decay on its own, therefore becoming, stabilized energy. So it becomes liquid again. When it comes to magic, it's the same way. If you do a servicio for someone, or if you're doing magic for somebody, the magic is going to decay and it's going to, be stabilized again because no one is feeding it energy. Therefore, it's no longer ice. Okay, in that scenario. And I just wanted to give you guys that, that something to think about, because even when it comes to the protection of my friends and my family, there is not a day where I don't have an item of theirs on my altar and I'm not praying for them. You know what I mean? And that's why everyone that I know is always constantly taken care of, therefore. And it's something that I think everyone needs to know about when it comes to spirituality. You don't just start something and you leave it. And that's kind of why in voodoo, if you start with the loa, you cannot technically leave, because it's like, that's like saying, oh, fuck my protections and fuck my life, because that's not what the Loa want for you. They don't want your life to be fucked. They don't want your life to be messed up. So oftentimes they would be the ones to reach out and, come in your dreams, or, like wake you up in the middle of the night and tell you, hey, like, I'm still here. And it's ultimately when you find yourselves arrodillado, or, kneeled down and begging, God, like, help me, help me, help me, that Yoloa come through. And they're like, we're here. So it's something that I want everyone to remember. When it comes to spell work, you don't just start one thing and you don't pray for one thing one day and then that's it. No, no, no. When you want to manifest something, and I'll give me as an example, if I want something and if I'm working for someone, I don't pray one day. I'm praying until that person gets it. Okay, and after they get it, I'm still praying for that person to continue to have what God wills for them to have, okay? It's just the basic thing in life, you know what I mean? That's why it's necessary for, if you're gonna have clients, you have to be a very responsible witch. Oftentimes, it's a very selfless, act to keep that person's life balanced, because again, if you stop, the energy will decay, and it's okay, because I mean, you live your life, but at the end of the day, even from a client perspective, a client should always understand that one thing and one trabajo is not entirely that person's um responsibility. And at the end of the day, if a witch did work for you and you got what you wanted, it's always your responsibility to go back and either continue to pay that individual to have the work continuously going, or if you're going to handle it yourself, you make that energy continuously flow. Because if you stop, again, just like with all energy, it stabilizes. So I just wanted to leave this message out there for you guys, when it comes to magic, and when it comes to why devotion is so important, and why las novenas se hacen, why praying is so, like, it's an everyday thing in a person that believes in voodoo and a person that serves Loa, and why it's a weekly thing where we serve our Loa weekly, and why we constantly are praying. That's mainly why, to keep the energy going. And it's nothing bad. But also, another example is in Christianity, if you want a relationship with the Holy Spirit, you have to constantly be praying every single day. You have to constantly remain in a spiritual life if you want God in your life, if you want Jesus to, be a part of your life, and also, do things on your behalf. When it comes to, Muslims, they got to pray 5 times, a day. They have to do their things to continuously appease God. Therefore, you are feeding an energy. Therefore, you are keeping something stable. Don't get lazy on me, witches, okay? Don't get lazy on me, because I feel like a lot of people that are starting these practices, they get very lazy on these things. They don't make time for their spirits, and you have to understand the spirit has to come first. Spirit will always bring you what you need. Spirit will bring you that job. Spirit will bring you that lover. Spirit will bring you that good health. But you also have to remember that you are a spirit first. So spirit always has to come first before all other things. And praying doesn't take longer than like 5 fucking minutes out of your day. You know what I mean? And then you have 24 hours to do whatever else you want to do. 9 hours to sleep, and the rest you're awake. So, 5 minutes out of the day is not that deep, okay? And if you can take time to your altar and pray for your friends, your family, and yourself, come on, it's not that deep. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. In my book that I was featuring on my other page, on my business page, I was mentioning, how important spiritual discipline is for a practitioner's life, and praying is one of those things. So I'm gonna leave this message out there. I love you guys. Lucy Progreso.